Good morning, everyone, and make sure. Good morning, everyone, with the European crossover webinar, and I just want to make sure I'm getting good audio on this. Bear with me one moment. Let me just go on and good real quick test here in the chat room. Just want to make sure that everybody can hear the audio because I had a message that said on the computer audio. Okay, I'll go in and trust that that is that they can hear the audio. Let's see, manage. And the reason is, like I said, I just got a message. It was saying, okay, great. Okay. Amanda says, yes, you can hear me. Okay, great. Thank you very much. That was a little bit of concern because, like I said, I logged in and it was saying about the audio, and it seemed like everything was okay, but I just didn't want to take a chance on that. So anyway, welcome to the European crossover webinar. And we are seeing the dollar just a little bit bid. Overall, things as usual are just a little bit quiet. I actually did the basic technical analysis for all the markets. As Blake is, excuse my voice, like I said, I'm over my cold, but it's still a little bit of a hoarse voice when I get up in the morning. But as Blake's out for the rest of the week, I'm doing the basic technical for all the markets. Some of the markets I'm used to not even covering, like Ethereum and Bitcoin. But anyway, like I said, well, gotten those taken care of. But we're seeing relatively quiet market overall. And let me go on and pull up the. Bear with me. Economic events. As we roll into today. And it's going to be relatively quiet then as far as a dearth of data. We do see JOLTS jobs opening. That's going to be at 10 a.m. Eastern, and as well as wholesale inventories, and that's going to be just about it right here. Nothing to point up other than we do have Mexican inflation at 7 a.m. Eastern time. Move this out of the way. And I'll just go in and take a quick go over the morning bid this morning. It says two big deals of the week: the U.S.-China trade talks and Brexit impasse appear to be going nowhere. Markets are on the edge over both, but soothed over by signals from the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell overnight that the Fed was open both to further interest rate cuts and a resumption of bond purchases to prevent a repeat of the recent money market and repo actions. U.S. futures markets now see an 85% chance of another quarter-point Fed rate cut on October, and Fed easing will be necessary given the mood music before tomorrow's trade talks in Washington, D.C., despite repeating that a deal is possible and perhaps seeking leverage in the talks. The U.S. government has simultaneously upped the pressure on China on fronts beyond trade, from how it handles the violent street protests in Hong Kong to its treatment of Muslim minorities. Overnight, the U.S. State Department imposed visa restrictions on Chinese government and Communist Party officials and widened its trade blacklist to include some of China's top artificial intelligence startups, drawing a response from Chinese officials about U.S. interference in its internal affairs. Wall Street stocks lost more than 1% last night, with a 1.55% slide in the S&Ps in the second worst day of the past month, and the VIX gaze jumped back above 20%, partly due to Powell's speech and the selling has eased since. The U.S. futures was up about 0.25% first thing on Wednesday, and the Asian market stabilized. European stock futures were flat to slightly higher before the open, after a tour day on Tuesday made worse by the apparent breakdown in Brexit talks before next week's European Union summit deadline for a deal. Sterling skidded to a slowest level in about a month against both the dollar and the euro, and continued to probe lower on Wednesday. EU officials made clear they thought the UK PM Boris Johnson's compromise proposals to change the existing withdrawal agreement were far short of what EU governments would accept, particularly in preventing the physical custom checks on the Irish border and establishing who has the final say over how these provisions are met after Brexit. Although UK legislation requires Johnson to seek an extension of the October 31st Brexit deadline if no deal is forthcoming by next week's summit, he continues to insist he will take the UK out of the EU regardless. It's not clear how he plans to square the circle. Sterling took the heat on Tuesday, but it remains largely within recent ranges. Market still thinks there's a chance of a no-deal Brexit this month, or less than 50%, and now expect an election will precede the Brexit in any form. Bookies and prediction sites tally with that. Betfair, online bookies, and the predicate and hypermind predictions and forecast trading sites still put the chance of a no deal at about 20%. As to figuring the outcome of a general snap election, opinion polls differ widely, blah, blah, blah. And we're going to move into just a quick cut on FX. Bear with me. And lastly, the dollar steadies as trade deal hopes fade and the pound soft. The dollar steadied on Wednesday as hopes for a breakthrough in U.S.-China trade talks waned, sending investors into less risky assets. It's mostly the U.S. imposition of visa restrictions on Chinese officials and the blacklisting of Chinese firms over the treatment of Muslim minorities has caused a pall over trade discussions scheduled in Washington. The resulting risk aversion has bolstered the dollar overnight, which has seen its safe haven owing to its position as a global reserve currency. The timing of the U.S. travel bans and the accompanying blacklisted associated with human rights have not helped to maintain a positive backdrop of these trade negotiations. They also look likely to provide some retaliation from China just a day before Vice Premier Liu is due to arrive in Washington for trade talks. A Chinese diplomat told Reuters that China wanted a deal. On top of the visa restrictions and the corporate blacklisting, the Trump administration is also moving ahead with discussions around restrictions on the capital flows into China. The tensions will persist through the year end, at least. Westpac's Emery Spitzer in Auckland, who is expecting the talks to deliver a breakthrough deal. It'll be volatile good news, but bad news repeat for the rest of the year, but overall a negative tone. So with that, let's just go on and move into the analysis. Let me. Sorry about that. I'll pull up the euro here. So for the intraday analysis, it was staying here. And as I told you, you can check the basic technical ideas for all the markets, which is something a little bit new and a little bit involved too. Got to give props to Blake, who does this well. And of course, Steve. It does say the euro is backpedaled into minor support level 939 with a low of 941. The key support remains 919 with a daily close resistance of 1020. Well, we should see yesterday, if you remember here in the chat room, we were looking for 939 here on the euro on a bit of a pullback. And we got as low as, what was it, 941? And we've seen the euro just kind of pop up a little bit here, just a little bit of a move, nothing great. But you can see, once again, we're within these ranges of 1020 and 919. We're talking about this is where the rubber really meets the road here at this 919. Should this market break further? But yesterday we had our, if you're with us here on ForexAnalytix in the chat room, I was pointing to 939. I think Amanda herself, I saw it later on, she also had a 940. So I guess we were both thinking alike. But we did finally see the market pull back towards that level, getting as low as 941. It was, quite late in the day. I know that a couple of guys were short. I know a DK trader, he was covering shorts. I didn't even know that he was short the euro, but it was a good area to go in and cover at that point. Looking here on the daily, because I was looking at the 2-hour chart. Let's go and pull this. The trend line continues to push, go lower, obviously, but the key level is 1020 right here. If we can get a daily close above that, not only will this take out this horizontal level, but it would also be breaking the trend line here. So would really kick us off from just a technical standpoint, where we'd see some further short cover here. So let's go on and take a look here. So when we look at this, no changes. And as I mentioned, the reason these parameters are a little bit wide is because, once again, we can, as I said before, last couple of days, we can bebop around, but nothing really changes. We did come into that 939, well, low is 941. Nothing really changes until we get beyond that. If we can get beyond that, then we'll see a somewhat bigger move then. So let's go move into cable. So I put on here, cable is to come into the downward Brexit lines. The key support is 2159. You can see here. The pair needs a daily close of 2351 to relieve the downward pressure. So I thought we might even slip down here, but potentially, like I said, and we just continue to see this cable sliding a little bit further. At this point, you'd almost expect it to go on and take a stab down here. And we're just holding just above this support level here, but actually it's going to be 2159 where the market can go in and make a slide into this area. And we're going to actually use that as our bias chart support here. It's going to be 2159. Let's go and mark that off. And we're talking about a move up to 2351 to get things going. There. We need to get above 2351 on a daily close to relieve this downside pressure for now. So it's 2351, which we'll go and mark that one off here. Let's go move on to the Aussie. So stating here, after mall showed cover into the end of last week, the Aussies retreated downwards. Immediate support level is 67.05. You can see that here. The pair needs a daily close above 68.09. Here's at 68.09 to break the downtrend line. Obviously, I mean, we have some resistance before then, but just the same way with the euro, where 1020 is important. I think I even referenced that yesterday here in comparison to the euro also, is that we need to break this downtrend line. Anything in between there, we're just kind of, once again, bebopping around or whatever. It doesn't make that much of a difference here. If we jump up here, not that we've got that much space in here, but we really need to get above 68.09. Even if you come up here and pop up here towards 60 upper 67s, it still doesn't change anything. We need to get above this area here. So on the downside, 67.05, on the upside, 68.09. So once again, you're kind of seeing that we're not, excuse me, not seeing that much of a change here. We're trading still in relative tight ranges across the board so far. Going moving to the Kiwi. Talking about tight ranges, look at this. And you would think that this is maybe like a 30-minute bar or something like that. This is another daily, and these ranges are just so tight. It says Kiwi is trading in a tight range, unable to sustain a bid. Pair requires a daily close above 63.60. You can see that right here. To alleviate the downside pressure, 62.65 is minor support. And you can see relatively tight range here. I think once we get into this China talk, we can start to see things change around a little bit. So this is with the dollar CAD. It's all about the close and whether the pair can exceed 33.36 to spark momentum to 35. Well, as I mentioned yesterday and probably the day before, we really saw quite the turnaround here on last Wednesday here with the dollar CAD. When you look at the way this market was trading prior to that, you were making these stabs up in here and getting nowhere. We were just finished at the bottom of these daily ranges. And we took a dip. We kind of came back again. It looked like, well, we've come back a little bit. Then we jump up here, and then, it doesn't look like too much to hang your hat on. We quickly lose that again. The market kind of holds its own. Then it looks like one more last stab. Oh, we're going to break 32. I mean, honestly, when I look at this in context, what a heck of a turnaround here when you look at the prior, 5 trading days. And then we just see this immediate turnaround smashing here, but we weren't able to take out this 33.36, and the subsequent trading day since then, actually a week's worth of trading days, at least including today, we have not been able to get beyond 33.36, and that's what it's all about, is this 33.36 on a daily close. Yes, we do have some resistance here at 33.82, but it's really about the close of 33.36. So right here, 33.82 with 33.36 as the asterisk, and support 32.88. Moving into the dollar peso. Says dollar peso has defended the pullback of 1950, closing above 1962. Immediate resistance is 1968. A daily close of above 1971 opens a challenge of 1985. Well, we did get, a decent close yesterday. It'll probably be easier to see this on the 2 hour. And we're just easing back just a bit. Nothing of any real significance. We mentioned if we could get a daily close above 1971, it would really push this market a little bit higher. We're starting out the day relatively quiet, so we're going to go in and just move this resistance here just a little bit lower here. We just caught right there, 1968. So today's bias chart resistance on the peso is going to be 1968. And for bias chart support, we're going to come in right here, even at 1950. 1950 right here on the bias chart. As I mentioned, it's very, very quiet trading. So don't want to make it look like as if it's just a pick 'em as far as support here, but we're just trading very tight ranges. And although I think as we get towards the end of the week, which we're almost there, I mean, we're midweek now, but with the trade talks, we should start to see volatility kind of return here. Says dollar yen found resistance at 750. The pair is closed above the 7 even, but remains vulnerable to a downside move. And, we did go and get turned away from the 750. It's a little bit more pronounced you see on the daily, but I tell you, the one thing is that we were able to hold above 107, but it's still open to lower. But I will give a little bit of a prop that it's kind of holding its own for right now. So I tell you what, until then, we'll keep the 750. And on the downside, it's going to remain the same, 685. So I'm kind of just moving around here. We did get a little bit of a mini hammer here from that 685, and we kind of pushed up a little bit higher. But the resistance is going to be right there, 750 here on the dollar yen. And it says the dollar index is keeping up the steady drumbeat higher. Resistance is going to be 99.40 with support at 98.58. You can see here we made a stab here towards that level we had here at 99.30. Trying to give it the benefit of the doubt here as things kind of wind up a little bit here. But as we get into this, into the actual trade talks, we can see these markets kind of move around and probably a little bit of volatility back and forth. We did see the euro kind of making a move, strengthening move just a little while ago. But I tell you what, we're going to go on and we'll give it the benefit of the doubt up in here. If it wants to stretch, it's going to be the 99.40. And support's going to be right here at 98.58, this lower end right here. I'll click this off, but actually we can go like that. So it'll stand out. 98.58, 99.40. And 98.58. And with that, let's go and move into the cross rates. And at the beginning, someone did type in the little box. Audio is good here, so thank you. And I'm not used to checking the questions on that. If you can see here, you can see here's the CAD yen here. All my analysis is there for, if you care to go and look at it, for all the pairs here and markets that we have, including, even Bitcoin and the other, I think it's Ethereal. But they're all there. Bund, 10-year, everything. Let's go on and move in here with the Kiwi yen. This market still remains relatively quiet here. We're trying to push up a little bit hard. Nothing of any real great resolve here, but the resistance is going to come in right here, 67, 93. We're not that far away, but it's going to be here, 67, 93. Let's go move this here. And 67.94, that'll be just fine. And on the downside, 67.15, no changes right now in here. So very, very tight ranges in Kiwi yen. We'll move on to Euro yen, which is moving a little bit higher here. As I mentioned, we are seeing a little bit of strength come back in the euro, and yen is weakening a bit here, so it's adding a little bit of a push here. You can see the well-defined ranges. And like I said, it's been relatively quiet. So this is going to remain the same right in here. You can see those well-defined ranges right there, at least with the pink lines that I use to go and highlight the bias chart resistance. So we're seeing this come in at 1808. You can see that right here with the downside, 1702. And we've stayed relatively quiet here. But once again, like I said, as we get through these China talks, I think we should be able to see things kind of open up a little bit more volatility. Certainly still in a downside move here. You can see that right here. Certainly when you look at this, obviously bearish outlook here, bearish bias. We are trying to work a little bit higher. So no changes here for the Euro yen. We're going to make a move here to the Euro AUD. Same thing, just pushing just a little bit higher. Once again, no significant changes. And boy, this one has really been very quiet here. As I mentioned here, it's going to be 63. And we had actually 63.41 looking at it actually on a daily. Let's go and take a look at that. There we go. Yeah, you can see that 63.41 coming in here. And we talked about that. Remember, that's a confluence with the 50% here at 63.49. So when we look at this, we could probably tighten up, and then we're down hollow here to 61.76. See if we can tighten up the lower end a bit here. So let's take a look at that. Yeah, we'll do just that. So we'll kick it all the way up to 62.25. With that, let's go move into the Euro Kiwi. Very, very tired trading. Says the euro has stabilized at the lower end of the recent range at 73.75 with major support at 73. The pair needs to break 75.20 to generate an upside leg, and we're just trading about as quiet as can be. Let's take a look at this on a 2-hour chart. Yeah, there's that 75.20 right there. Let's go move this here. Not move it, but adjust it. We'll tighten it up, call it 75.15. Right there. We'll call it 73.04. Still wide range. And with that, let's move into the Aussie yen. Boy, this is quiet as quiet can be. Look at that. Look at that. That is just no movement here. On the upside, we're looking at 72.75. Kicks that up to here. And it needs to hold that 71.86 on daily close. We're just trapped within a rather tight range here. So no changes here. slightly bullish, just slightly. And we'll move into the guppy. It looked like it would make this move down here at 30.06. When I even did the analysis, I referenced here a potential move down here to 130 even, which was confluence with 30.06. We're trying to make a stand here. I'll tell you what, we're going to go with the bias chart resist support for today at 30.48. You can see that coming across here. If you can't, I will show you right there. Right there, 30.48. And the upside 32.06, no changes there. So here we are with the guppy, 30.48 and 32.06 right there. Now with that, let's go move into the sterling odd. Move into the daily. Well, things are looking a little bit better this morning. So I put on here, the sterling odd looks like the last rose of summer, wilting lower. The pair remains above key level 80.89, but a sense of imminent failure is likely to push the pair to 80 even. A daily close above 84.14 would be required to cast those negative doubts aside. I'll tell you what, things are a little bit better this morning. For the immediate resistance, we're going to go with this 82.60 for today, okay? And that support is going to be right there at 80.89. Well, things are clipping along because it's just really quiet, and things should heat up as obviously we're getting ready to roll into those U.S.-China trade talks. We can go in and take a look here. You can see here crude oil is just so quiet. I mean, we've just been down, 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 and almost every rally gets quickly sold into. So we're trading relatively quiet. Gold, we do have a little bit of a bid. Yesterday, they kind of pushed them a little bit higher, and then they rolled them back. Let's go and take a look here on the 2 hour. Get a little bit closer look. They made a push higher, and then they rolled them back, and now they've come back a bit. Actually, we made it up here to 15.12 here on the gold, and we're just kind of holding our own. It certainly looks like we have the potential to move higher here in gold. We shall go on and wait here. Obviously, with this whole China trade talk, it looks like we will go on and potentially push higher. Here, you can see here I even did, here's my work with Ethereum or Ethereum, however you want to go on and pronounce it here. Certainly not a market that we look on here, but we're seeing a little bit of a short cover. If we can get a close above 203, it really can change things around, start to move this up. Obviously, market I don't normally cover, but I did the analysis on this. One market we do want to keep an eye on here is the bond market. Here's my work I did on this 2-hour chart, and if you look at this, I was saying that it looks like it's about ready to potentially fall over. I can pull what my analysis said on that. Obviously, it's critical to the euro. That's why I do want to go and point that out. Well, doggone, where's my doggone analysis? What the heck? Well, doggone it. Well, I did the analysis, obviously you can see here, and my thoughts were that this looks like it can potentially break down, okay? And that will be key. You can see where we are right now. My thoughts were if we break down here and break down to this level down here, 75.24, we could see this market quickly cascade lower. It's just, you don't see any changes right now, but it's something to keep an eye on. You know how we've seen big moves in the euro. You can see this is a huge run we've had in the Bund so far. Look at that, just absolutely huge. But my thoughts are we're on the lower end here. Look, we've seen European data, economic data coming weaker and weaker, but looks like this market is really starting to weaken and continue to weaken. I forgot what my actual analysis said, and this is frustrating because I did save that there. I don't know what the heck happened on that. But one of the things I was looking at here on that was I was saying, hey, it looks like it really wants to go in and break lower, and we're kind of hanging on. I don't think anything happens or trips up if we get past the 75.84, but if we break here, I think this is going to be, we come down here to the 75.29, and I think you could see this market quickly cascade lower. Obviously, that would jumpstart a bit in the euro. And I'm surely no euro kind of bull, but just keep an eye on this. Certainly nothing's going on, things going to make a move in the next day or two, but certainly something to keep an eye on in the next couple of weeks here with the bunds. S&Ps, once again, they did all the analysis. Hope it saved my analysis. You can see I said we were sitting here resting on this trend line. We would actually have to get immediate resistance here is 29.21 here on the S&Ps. I said really to change things around, we'd have to get a daily close. If we get a move above this 29.21, 2 consecutive 2-hour closes, it really opens the door for a challenge at 29.45. If we get there, probably not likely, but you never know. If they get some good news out of China, I'm sure some news will develop. So look for a potential move to 29.21, but we'd have to get above 29.21 on 2 consecutive 2-hour closes, and that would open the door for it here for move to 29.45. But that's about it right here. Like I said, relatively quiet morning. You can see here crude remains weak here. And that's what we have. But thanks for joining us here on the European crossover webinar. We'll catch you later in the room. Oh, by the way, we will have the FX Daily Roundup 90 minutes early. It's going to be at 11 a.m. Eastern. 11 a.m. Eastern. I do have a dental appointment, so I don't want to not have the FX Daily Roundup, but it will be an hour and a half early. Do have a dental appointment, so didn't want to miss that. So once again, just to announce, I'll put that also in the room. It'll be 90 minutes early, okay? And thanks for joining us here, and good luck trading.